Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is a servant of the living God. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Today, I wanted to testify about some, I don't know if you want to call it information. It's more like, I guess you can say, interpretations and things that the Father has shown me throughout a period of time. Now, I do want to mention, because I feel like it's worth mentioning, that throughout a period of several months, I've been praying to the Father to show me what's going to happen concerning the Four Horsemen, because I've heard other people say that the seals have already been opened, and I just felt and I knew in my spirit that that cannot be true. But with that being said, I primarily asked Father to give me understanding and wisdom and knowledge concerning these things, simply because I guess, if you're a servant of Jehovah, we just thirst after wisdom, and we want revelations. I'm sure that a lot of us can relate to that. But anyway, I just prayed to Father for many months, asking him to show me and to help me understand. And not too long ago, he answered my prayer concerning my petition of this matter, concerning the Four Horsemen and all the events connected to the opening of the seals. So today I wanted to share that which I perceive the Father has revealed to me. And it starts with the opening of the first four seals. So let's go ahead and read Revelation chapter 6, verses 1 through 8.
Chapter 6. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering, and to conquer. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, Come and see. And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth.
Okay, so let's talk about the first seal that Yeshua HaMashiach, the Lamb, opened. And this is the first horse and horseman, and it's the white horse. And it says that it has a bow, and that a crown was given to it, and that it went forth conquering and to conquer. Now, in order to understand what the interpretation of this is, and what events are going to come in the days of the unsealing of this first seal to reveal the first horseman, we have to first understand what the function of these horses are. Now, if we go to Zechariah chapter 1 and also chapter 6, in these two chapters in Zechariah, horses and horsemen are also mentioned. Now, seeing that these horse and horsemen that are going to be unsealed in Revelation, seeing that these are future events, and seeing that Zechariah, that these prophecies were shown to Zechariah during the times of King Darius, we have to understand and realize and assume, more than anything understand, that these are not the same exact horses, and they are not the same exact horsemen that we are shown and we are told about in Revelation chapter 6. But one thing that we can take away from Zechariah is the function of these horses. And the reason why I say this is because Father even tells us in the book of Malachi that he does not change. So we know that the things are going to happen and are happening now. But the things that are going to happen, these things are nothing new. It's just they're being brought about in a way so that the end will come. So, for instance, in Zechariah, like I said, in Zechariah chapter 1 and 6, it talks about how, in chapter 1, it talks about how that Zechariah saw a red horse, and that he was told that this horse rides throughout the world. And we're also told in chapter 6 that when Zechariah was shown he was shown 4 carriages, 4 horsemen. He was shown a white, a red, a black, and a grizzled, or grizzled and bay, however it says. He was told that these are the 4 spirits of the heavens. So these horse and horsemen are spirits, and we're also this is also confirmed in Isaiah. If I'm not mistaken, it's in Isaiah chapter 31, where Father tells Israel, "Now the Egyptians are not gods, and their horses are not flesh, but spirit." And we're also confirmed. This is also confirmed with Elijah when he was taken up to heaven, and also with Elisha when he showed his servant that they were surrounded by the horses from heaven, chariots of fire. So, if this function is still the same in Revelation chapter 6, then we do know that the first horse, and we have to see that this first horse, as all the horses of the first 4 seals, these are going to be spirits from heaven that are going to control events that are going to happen in this world. So let's go ahead and talk about the first horse. Now, like it says, it has a bow, and a crown was given unto it, and it went forth conquering and to conquer. Now, I believe heavily that this is connected with Daniel chapter 11, verses 21 through 24. Let's hear.
And in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably, and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. And with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown from before him, and shall be broken, yea, also the prince of the covenant. And after the league made with him he shall work deceitfully, for he shall come up, and shall become strong with a small people. He shall enter peaceably even upon the fattest places of the province, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the prey, and spoil, and riches, yea, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds, even for a time.
Okay, So, this vile person that is going to stand up, he is going to basically deceive people, and he's going to basically conquer the kingdom with a small people. He's going to deceive people with peace. He's going to make a league, and a league is pretty much in, like in today's language, it's basically a treaty, okay? And so when he is going to come, he's going to come in conquering and to conquer. He's going to come in conquering the kingdom that he's going to take possession of. And this, of course, is the kingdom of the north. As this whole chapter 11 is basically talking about the events and the wars between the kingdom of the north and the kingdom of the south. And this kingdom of the north is obviously the Roman kingdom. And it's obviously going to be more, it's going to be basically spread out throughout the northern parts. And if we read even throughout other parts of the prophets, the Antichrist is described as being the king of Assyria, okay? So I have pretty much understood and realized that this person, this vile person is going to be basically the seventh king, the seventh head of the beast, and the horn, one of the horns of the beast mentioned by Daniel in the visions that he saw, and how it's going to be diverse from the other ones. So basically, this person is not going to be an actual Roman. He's going to be of Assyrian descent. But anyways, this whole thing with this man, with this vile person, he's going to come in, he's going to take possession of the kingdom of the north, and he's going to do it by flatteries, as it says. He's going to wow everybody and flatter everybody. And this ability that he is going to have to take this kingdom is not going to come from him. This is from the first horse. The first horse with the bow. Now, in order to understand what the bow is, we need to read 2 Kings chapter 13 verses 14 through 19, and then the interpretation of that in verse 25, because the bow symbolizes the conquering of a country. So let's go ahead and read 2 Kings chapter 13 verses 14 through 19.
Now Elisha was fallen sick of his sickness whereof he died. And Joash the king of Israel came down unto him, and wept over his face, and said, O my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And Elisha said unto him, Take bow and arrows. And he took unto him bow and arrows. And he said to the king of Israel, Put thine hand upon the bow. And he put his hand upon it, and Elisha put his hands upon the king's hands. And he said, Open the window eastward. And he opened it. Then Elisha said, Shoot. And he shot. And he said, The arrow of the Lord's deliverance, and the arrow of deliverance from Syria, for thou shalt smite the Syrians in Aphek, till thou have consumed them. And he said, Take the arrows. And he took them. And he said unto the king of Israel, Smite upon the ground. And he smote thrice, and stayed. And the man of God was wroth with him, and said, Thou shouldest have smitten 5 or 6 times, then hadst thou smitten Syria till thou hadst consumed it, whereas now thou shalt smite Syria but thrice.
Okay, and then when you go to verse 25, just to paraphrase, verse 25 was the fulfillment of the prophecy that Elisha spoke to Joash, king of Israel. Joash ended up fighting against Syria, and he ended up beating them 3 times. He recovered some cities. So this shows us that the bow is basically symbolizing war and invasion. And this is one of the things that the white horse with the horsemen was given. So when we go back to Daniel chapter 11 verses 21 and 24, we see this happening. We see the vile person standing up, getting possession of the kingdom, taking over the kingdom, overflowing the kingdom. All the arms of the kingdom are overflown, and he takes possession of it. He makes a league. He comes up with a small people, and he flatters the people. And he goes throughout the provinces. It says that he's going to do something that his fathers, or even that his father's fathers, has not done, and that is to split the spoil, the riches, everything that he got by invading the kingdom, he's going to share with the people. And that is something, obviously, that today is not seen, but he will do it. And this is one of the ways he's going to gain the trust of the people. And, you know, if you're a servant of God and a disciple of Yeshua told us that, you know, if it were possible, the elect would be deceived. So when you see these things happen, don't be deceived. You got to understand that it's just it's a deception. That's what he's going to do to gain the trust of people. And he's going to do this throughout his wars. And we will see this as we go. So when he makes everybody happy and he gives everybody riches and he splits everything, he shares the spoil with everyone, then it says that he will forecast devices against the stronghold. Now, forecast means to predict future events. So he's going to predict future events as to what he's going to do about the strongholds. And these strongholds are in the kingdom of the south. So now, after the time of him forecasting his devices, then the second seal will be opened, and this will be the red horse with the great sword, and he will take peace from the earth, and he will cause people to kill each other. So we are going to see this also when it comes to the kingdom of the south. We will see this. And let's go ahead and listen to Daniel chapter 11 verses 25 through 28.
And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army, and the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army, but he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. Yea, they that feed of the portion of his meat shall destroy him, and his army shall overflow, and many shall fall down slain. And both these kings' hearts shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table, but it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at the time appointed. Then shall he return into his land with great riches, and his heart shall be against the holy covenant, and he shall do exploits, and return to his own land.
Okay, so now we read that the king of the north, that he's going to stir up his courage with his army against the king of the south, and that the king of the south is going to have a great and mighty army. So basically, war is going to happen on a great scale. And this has to do with the second horseman, with the red horseman, because it even tells you right here in the when it talks about how in Daniel chapter 11 verses 26, 27, that people in the army of the kingdom of the south are going to turn against their king. So there's going to be betrayal amongst the ranks of the army of the king of the south. And you can be sure that this does not apply only to the king of the south. This is going to be a worldwide thing. The taking of the peace of the earth means taking of the peace of the earth. That's what it means. It means that we're going to see bloodshed unlike we have never seen ever in the history of the world. And that's what's going to happen. So, in these verses, some people are going to turn on the king of the south. And it also says that the king, basically that the king of the north is going to return back to his land with great riches, meaning that he won the battle, but he did not take over the kingdom of the south, but he comes back with riches. And what did we hear earlier about what he does with riches and with spoil? He is going to split that with the people. He's going to give it to the people in his kingdom. And this brings us to the third horse and the fourth. The third one being the black horse, and with the scales or balances in his hands, and that basically this symbolizes a great famine. And this famine, of course, when it comes to this specific horse, it's not restrained to a certain part of the world like we will see in the fourth horse. But in this horse, the black horse of famine, I feel like it's going to be throughout the world. So, if there's a famine that's happening and the Antichrist or the beast or the seventh king comes back to his kingdom, to his land with all these riches, and there's a famine going on, what do you think is going to happen? This is how he's going to continue to have the people's support, because there's going to be famine throughout the world, but he's going to be able to feed them, because it even says about, it even tells us the price of what bread is going to be, a penny. And we know that a penny in interpretation is basically a day's worth of wages, as Yeshua told us in that parable. So that's what's going to happen with the famine. This is one of the ways he's going to stay in power. And now we get to the fourth horseman. This is the pale horse. This is the one that has death, that has hell and death with it, and that is going to kill he's going to kill over the fourth part of the earth. Well, he's going to use the sword and hunger and the beast of the earth, and he's going to use these to kill in the fourth part of the earth. Now, in the verses that we just read, it says that the king went back to his land with riches, and that many fell down slain. Now, I have reason to believe that this fourth part of the earth is indeed the kingdom of the south. That's what I think it is. because there's going to be people killed with the sword. That's basically in war. There's going to be people killed by hunger, because not everybody's going to get fed in the kingdom of the south. It also doesn't help that the Antichrist is going to take all their spoil, and with the beasts of the earth, with animals, with wild animals. So that's what's going to happen with the fourth seal being opened. And we have an insight to this. If we go to Ezekiel chapter 30, verses 2 through 6, we will see the playing out of the war, or of all the destruction that's going to come on the kingdom of the south. And it also reveals to us more information about what nations exactly are going to be in the kingdom of the south. So let's go ahead and listen to Ezekiel chapter 30, verses 2 through 6.
Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord God, Howl ye, woe worth the day. For the day is near, even the day of the Lord is near, a cloudy day. It shall be the time of the heathen. And the sword shall come upon Egypt, and great pain shall be in Ethiopia, when the slain shall fall in Egypt, and they shall take away her multitude, and her foundations shall be broken down. Ethiopia, and Libya, and Lydia, and all the mingled people, and Chub, and the men of the land that is in league, shall fall with them by the sword. Thus saith the Lord, they also that uphold Egypt shall fall, and the pride of her power shall come down. From the tower of Sion shall they fall in it by the sword, saith the Lord God.
Okay, so it basically says that the day of the Lord is near, and that it shall be the time of the heathen, basically the time of the nations. And it talks about that a sword is going to come upon Egypt, and Ethiopia, and Libya, and Lydia, and all these, it names these nations, and then it says, and the land that is in league with them, that they shall fall. Now, the land that is in league, remember that we read in Daniel 11, verses 21 and 24, about how the king of the north is going to make a league among the people of his domain, of his dominion. But now we go to the kingdom of the south. We see exactly who these nations are. And a lot of these nations are in North Africa. All these nations listed, a lot of them are in North Africa. And as it also says, the nations, the land that is in league with them. So that means that this obviously goes further than just North Africa. I feel like it could be the whole of Africa, maybe the southern parts of the world. I mean, that's just my guess. So the day of the Lord is near. It shall be the time of the heathen. And when the second seal is opened and that piece is taken from the earth, this reminds me of what Paul said in one of his epistles when he said, when they're saying peace and safety, that sudden destruction will come upon them. And it will. And that's basically what we're going to see. This whole thing in Ezekiel chapter 30, verses 2 through 6, I feel that this is basically covering the second, third, and fourth seal. So I feel like we're shown the fourth part of the earth that is going to suffer greatly. at the hands of the fourth horseman. Now, this is not the first time that God uses a king, or that has used a king, to bring judgment. It's not. If we go to Jeremiah 27 verses 6 through 8, he talks about how he's referring to Nebuchadnezzar, and this is after when he takes possession of all the world, of all the countries. He says that whosoever shall not put their neck under the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, whatsoever country does not do this, that they will be slain with the sword, with famine, and with pestilence. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? So in the same way, this is going to happen, but this time, this guy, this vile person will be completely against Jehovah, completely against Yeshua. And it's pretty obvious that the kingdom of the south is a stronghold. And it's a stronghold because this kingdom is not going to straight away submit to the Antichrist. They're going to fight him. They are going to fight the Antichrist. Nations that are against him will fight him. And that's just the way it's going to go. And that's how Yehovah is going to bring his judgments on people. I mean, do you really think that the people that are going to fight against the Antichrist are people that are going to be, good with God? I mean, of course not, Especially when it comes to like Egypt, because we're told in Isaiah chapter 19, if you go to Isaiah chapter 19, the prophecy concerning what's going to happen with Egypt, God says that he's going to set Egypt against each other. It says that. And this pretty much goes with the second horse. People are going to be fighting each other. And that they're going to seek to their wizards. They're going to seek to their magicians. So, I mean, does that sound like people who love God? And no, it doesn't. It's not. That's why, when you go to Psalm 9, I think it's 15, 16, and 17, if I'm not mistaken, it says that, basically paraphrase, that the wicked are taken in their own snare, and that the Lord is known by the judgment that he executes, and that he will turn the wicked to hell and the nations that forget God. So when these things happen, we will know that it's from God. We will know that it's not going to be things that are manufactured by men. It's not going to be things that men themselves are going to plan and draw out. No, this is going to be a snare to the wicked. It's going to come as a snare, not just to the inhabitants of the world who forget God, but it's going to come as a snare to the wicked and to the kings of this earth and to the presidents and to all those in power and to all the people who do the things that they are not supposed to do. So that's how this thing is going to happen, brothers and sisters. And at the end of Daniel chapter 11 verse 28, that when the Antichrist comes back from his war with the king of the south with all the spoils, it talks about how he's going to do exploits. Exploits is basically when somebody uses something to their advantage. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to use that to his advantage, and his heart is going to be against the holy covenant. So that's basically what it is, brothers and sisters. And these exploits, who knows what else they're also going to be. It could be the things that he's going to do, the wonders that he's going to show the people. I mean, he's really going to trick people. He's really going to use the wonders that he's going to show to trick the people. And, of course, he'll get help, of course, from the false prophet. The false prophet is going to promote him. Because as we go, because this is not the end of this testimony. I'm still going to cover what's going to happen after this, after the seals are opened, and exactly what the beast is going to do. So we'll talk more about those things as we go. But this is the end of this part, brothers and sisters. I hope that y'all understood what I was talking about, and I hope that this does bring more understanding to everyone who does listen to this. And I thank y'all for listening. God, Yehovah, bless y'all. Shalom.